Good day. This 157th day, Meaningful Moments, 365 days. So the meaningful moment for me today came while I was reading this book here, Shaman, Healer, Sage by Alberto Villoldo. And what was really interesting was that, I think nothing is really significant to us unless it touches us in a way that we know that it's speaking to us. Perhaps we've already had this idea or thought or even a knowing, but maybe we couldn't articulate it, and then all of a sudden, we hear it or we read it there right in front of us, and it's like, this is me. This is what was happening in my own story. And we're watching it from an observation standpoint. And today I was reading about 7 generations and, what a lot of the Native American Indians would perceive as how our choices affect 7 generations. And in energy work, we can go backwards or forwards because there really isn't a linear kind of time. But we move through the timelines and we experience these types of connections that we have that were passed over to us, or that we're carrying or now have passed on to our children. And we all know it. We all have these little bits and pieces of us. But it came forth for me as what I quickly realized was the great cover-up. And we're all doing this in some level, in some way. We all have things we know to be true, and yet we find these little ways that we've covered them up. Today I had one that came to me really strong, and I realized that even though it was in my story, that it had been my mother's story and probably in her mother's story, and this is the generational passing of it. And these are pieces that lie in our subconscious or in the unconscious realm that are coming forth for us as we do our healing work. And I think of it like in as simple as, like, we have a blemish and we cover it up. We have an experience that makes us feel uncomfortable, and we might even feel it directly in one of our chakras, and for whatever reasons we sort of cover it up, and maybe we become masters at cover-ups in so many ways, with feelings or thoughts or patterns of thoughts or activities that we do, things that we do to cover it up. And of course, that's to varying degrees in terms of how people do it. I once heard someone say, that they had been self-medicating for a long period of time, and it was truly a cover-up. And I think so many of us are master cover-ups in so many ways, until we decide to really get real about all the real parts of ourselves, because that's really where the healing is. So in that moment of reading about, in here this morning over coffee, about a little bit that spoke so clear to my own story, and for many women, the connection that they have with relationships with men, because it's not just in our own lineage, our own family of origin, but it's societal and cultural, and it's so wrapped up and so entangled in so many ways, because we're interconnected to everything. So in this journey of healing, we discover, and not only do we cognitively get to work with it in a more conscious way, but then we work with it in the energetic way to really free ourselves of those kinds of things that we've used to cover up. And we know when we do, because the moment we work with it in that way, suddenly we feel a burst of energy, and we feel like, it's freed up, literally, because the energy has actually untangled itself and is free moving again, and doesn't have to be blocked up anymore. So that was a meaningful moment for me today, the great cover-up. So wherever you are today in your discoveries of yourself, of everything around you, May you uncover all the truths that set you free. Aho.